fear. Fear is one of those natural things that is, like, scary. Fear is scary. Quote of the day. Right, so fear as a child comes at everything new. As a child, I was very much scared of heights. But there's things in media that are scary as a child that you look back on and you think, why was I scared of that? And then there's things that you're scared of as a child and you think, oh, fuck that. That still fucks with me today. And I'm going to go through some of that stuff that really, really, like, made me hide from the TV when I was a child. Without further ado, let's just jump into it. So I'm going to start off with number 5. For me, is very much a personal pick. When I was 8 or 7, I was gifted a PS2 from my cousins and uncle, and I was new to games. I only had a DS up to this point, and I was completely new to this. And one of the first games that I played on this PS2 was a little known game by the name of X-Men Legends. And X-Men Legends was developed by Raven Software, and for some reason Raven Software, their like opening intro sequence, I'm going to put it in now. Where they have the bird and it goes into the eye and then it zooms out. That terrified me as a child. I don't know why. I think it was just because, like, I'd never seen something like this before, and the noises as well that came with it just kind of creeped me out a bit as a child. I'm fine with it now, but as a like young 8-year-old boy, I was not playing with that. Another thing from when I was a lot younger was if anyone remembers back when like DVDs were a thing. We now have Blu-rays now, but back in the days of DVDs and videos, the Dolby Cinema thing. If I can find a clip of this, I will put it in. But it's with the helicopter, and you can hear the rotor blades spinning and the kind of meow. It's very much like the Spider-Man TV series, the 90s Spider-Man TV series intro, where it's got the rotor blade spinning and the meow. But I was terrified of this. I think it was because it was so loud that it just scared me, and it was all CG and it looked all like future and dystopian, and it looked really weird, and I didn't like it. I wouldn't watch like DVDs. I couldn't watch Spider-Man, the first one, for the longest time. I think I put in the DVD and then I heard this and I took it straight out. I waited like a year. I didn't actually watch the first Spider-Man movie until after I watched the third, which came out in like 2007, 2008. And I did not like that Dolby intro. Was not a fan. The third pick is from a kids film, which I think goes to show just where I'm taking these picks from. But Disney's Dinosaur. I love the movie personally. It hasn't aged well. It looks really bad now, but as a kid I loved the film to the point where I bought the video game, which also hasn't aged well at all. But I personally really love the movie. But there's one scene in the movie in particular that I hate with a passion, and it's the Velociraptors. And it's the scene where they zoom in straight to the Velociraptor and it roars at the audience and it's got its mouth completely open. That that scene is like many sleepless nights for me. I hated that as a kid. Even looking back at it now, it's still kind of very it's still very off-putting. It still makes me cringe in my stomach, that scene. I don't like it. It wasn't like for me. The rest of the film is absolutely is great, but I really did not like that scene. It scared me and it fucked me up for at least a good few months after watching the movie. Now we're going to talk about the absolute British legend of what's his fucking face? Deal or No? Noel Edmonds. We're going to talk about the absolute British legend Noel Edmonds. He should be knighted at this point, but he brought to the British public one of the most terrifying things in the world. One of the most absolutely terrifying things in the world, in the form of Mr. Blobby. Mr. Blobby is the worst thing in the world. And do you know why? It's because of those fucking eyes, and the eyes that don't actually stay in place, and that stupid grin, and it talks. It fucking talks. And it sounds like it's possessed by Satan. It's like blah blah. It's like, fuck off! No, just go away. Fuck off! I don't want it in my life. I'm absolutely terrified of Mr. Blobby. I hate it. And they did the fucking. It has a song. There is a Mr. Blobby song. And I hate it with a passion. It's the worst thing in the world, and I really do hate Mr. Blobby with a passion. It's terrifying, and it scared me as a kid to the point where I would see at my nan's house, one of the doors had a sticker of Mr. Blobby. It had the door was covered in stickers of Mr. Blobby. I wouldn't go upstairs. I just wouldn't go upstairs. I went upstairs once, looked at the door, and was like, "Fuck that! I'm going back down." I hated Mr. Blobby with a passion. Can kind of deal with it now, but all I can say is I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm glad I'm not the only one. Thank you, Jack Whitehall, for also being scared of my childhood night terror.
It's the final question of the Big Fat Quiz of the 90s, and to ask it, we're honoured to have one of the decade's most iconic stars. Please welcome, apologies, Jack, Mr. Blobby. Oh.
The last one is something that I think only I will remember, but as a kid on TV, as a kid I was a big fan of Winnie the Pooh, as you can probably see from the onesie that I'm wearing now. I was a massive fan of Winnie the Pooh. I couldn't get enough of it as a kid. And then the most terrifying kids show ever released came out, and it's called The Book of Pooh, and it was like fully like puppetry, and the puppets in this show are the most terrifying things in the world, I think, and it's I don't like it. I'm going to put in a few clips, but it still gets to me to this day, and I think it is partly due to the fact that I have a massive fear of just puppets in general, and like that kind of like rattly nature of it. I'm not a big fan of that in general, but I'm just not. I can't watch this show, and the thing is, the worst thing about it is my family taped episodes of this and I think it was like a full 24-hour like video, and it was like I think the channel that they taped it on had like they were running episodes of The Book of Pooh and then the Winnie the Pooh animated series, which was my jam. So I'd be trying to watch the Winnie the Pooh animated series, and then it would have episodes of The Book of Pooh as well, and I wouldn't even stay in the room. I would run out of the room. I'll kind of watch it from like the hallway, and I would be like watching, and I'd be shivering because I didn't like it at all. It sounds pathetic now, but remember at the time I was like 4 or 5, and I absolutely hated this with a passion. And the thing is, it was taped with one of my favourite shows as a kid, so you know, it was like absolute childhood bliss and then absolute childhood fear wrapped into one. So it's like, yeah, I hate my parents for that. I definitely do. And that's all that I have to talk about. That's pretty much the extent of the fear that of things that gave me fear as a child. Like it, a lot of them sound stupid now, but that was what I was scared of as a child. It sounds so stupid now looking back on it, but yeah. One thing I did want to mention before we do end the video is that today, on the 10th of October, it is a World Mental Health Day. So just, you know, go to your family, your friends, your loved ones. Just ask if they're doing okay. Just like tap them on the shoulder and be like, "You okay?" Because I feel like those 3 words aren't said enough, and aren't said like nearly like as earnestly as they should be. So just ask if someone's okay. It will probably mean the world to them, and it will certainly brighten up their day. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget that I'm doing a Q&A soon. I'm still looking for questions to come in and all that good stuff. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.